How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own wildcard draft for the upcoming Game Week 3. So yes, the wildcard season might be actually upon us. There was a few reasons I actually wanted to create this video. The first one's going to be that gives us some clarity for our own free transfers. So yes, even if you guys aren't on the wildcard chip, taking a look at what the team would look like if you were to use the chip gives you some clarity on what moves to make. So in yesterday's video, we covered my transfer plan, 2 free transfers, where to spend them, and I went over a few options. So yes, this video is actually going to be for those of you on the chip as well as off the chip, and that's why I decided to create it. Now the second reason was I actually received a few Twitter DMs as well as Discord messages asking me what my team would look like if I was to activate the wildcard chip for Game Week 3. Now this is kind of natural after a relatively kind of low scoring game week. Game week 2 wasn't that bad for me personally, still managed to get a green arrow, but I saw a lot of low scores over on Twitter, especially if you guys didn't own Mbeumo or Matoma. So kind of a natural reaction after a bad game week, everyone wants to use the wild card if they have it in the back pocket, and basically all of us do because early on in the season. So what I've done in this video is I'm going to keep it quite short. I'm not going to be going through the team selection, going over the fixtures, all that good stuff. I'm going to simply go over the finances, because for me it's kind of simple on what players to target. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now the first talking point I want to go over before we actually cover the draft, I want to talk about is it actually a good time to use the wildcard chip and what it will take to actually activate it. Now there's a common rule in terms of wildcarding. A lot of people actually say that you should kind of create a wildcard draft as I've done in this video and then see how different it is to your current team. Now the usual kind of metric is if it's kind of a -12, a -16 hit, that's usually a good time to actually activate the wildcard, but I'd probably say a -16 to be honest, because it's so early on in the season. Now I'm not saying that there's kind of a wrong time to wildcard, but I do believe that most people are being a little bit impatient, as most of the big hitters haven't kicked off this season. But if you guys have watched me, kind of an OG of the channel, you know I'm a very kind of conservative manager when it comes to the wildcard. I always like to use it as late as possible, but I want to push an agenda to you guys. It is your own FPL team at the end of the day, but I have seen a lot of teams that were really strong that simply haven't got points over the opening 2 game weeks. In FPL, usually a bit of patience pays off. They say the P in FPL stands for patience, and Game Week 3 might be one of the game weeks for that. So what I would do after this video is go and create your own wildcard draft, see how different it is to your own team, and then what you can do is come back to this video, comment it down below, and then I'll tell you guys if you should actually use the chip. You can also comment your wildcard draft, I'll give you some pointers. If I see any red flags, I'll point them out, but I generally trust you guys to do a good job. So unfortunately, the conclusion on should you guys wildcard or not is super situational. I obviously don't know how your team is setting up. If it's similar to mine, I definitely wouldn't wildcard. As mentioned, a couple of the big hitters, I expect them to turn up. But now let's go on to the talking point that you guys are all waiting for, the actual wildcard draft. As mentioned early on in the introduction, I'm not going to go over the fixtures or the team selection. I'm simply going to give you guys the finances of the players. So the biggest finance is going to be the 1.5 million left in the bank, top right hand side. A lot of money actually in the bank. This season is quite a unique one. Don't exactly have to spend your full bank to get a really strong team. So what that 1.5 allows you to do is kind of vary this team as you like. Always say put your own flavor on any draft, but this team looks pretty decent. Now I've kept the 3-5-2 formation. I just believe that's kind of the strongest formation to go for. There could be a case for a 3-4-3 depending on what Man City asset you guys want to go for. I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but now let's go over our goalkeepers. So the goalkeeper of choice, or my kind of mainstay goalkeeper, is me, Robert Sanchez from Chelsea at 4.5 million. Accompanying him is the 4.0 of choice Turner from Nottingham Forest. Now you guys can go for Areola, has actually had a better start to the season than Turner has, but I generally just worry about Areola and Fabianski, and they could rotate throughout the season. So Turner comes in here as a kind of mainstay. Yes, if Nottingham Forest sign a new goalkeeper, there might be some rotation, but for the time being, this is the information in front of us. Now there's some more information about Sanchez. Unfortunately, looks like Chelsea might sign a new goalkeeper as well to kind of challenge him, but I feel like at 4.5 million he's so cheap to get a piece of that Chelsea defense. Now yes, you could go for kind of a Gusto at 4.0 million, he's even cheaper than Sanchez, but I just believe that he's more nailed than Gusto, and when Reece James comes back from that injury, who knows what's going to happen in that backline. Now you guys can use that 1.5 to upgrade Sanchez to an Onana if you believe in him, or another 4.5 like a Johnston or a Pickford. I just feel like on a wildcard you guys want to take advantage of those Chelsea fixtures, and that's why triple up was almost essential in my opinion. Let's continue on the Chelsea way of things. Our first defender is going to be Ben Chilwell. I've kind of ranked these according to importance. I think that Chilwell is the mainstay defender that you guys should go for, even though he was subbed about the 70-minute on the weekend. You guys just know he's risen in price already to 5.6 million, just an incredible option at his price point, and seems like Poch really likes that back 5. Now those Chelsea fixtures are too hard to ignore, lovely fixtures on paper. I do believe Ben Chilwell is nailed in that Chelsea lineup, and I think he's going to score a bunch of points against these easier teams. I think if you guys don't have him in your wildcard draft, that might be a little bit insane, as he's my favourite defender at the moment. My second favourite defender at the moment is going to be a Stupinan from Brighton, risen in price as well to 5.1 million, and I think his attacking returns have rivaled some of the attackers. So this last game week scored a goal and an assist, no clean sheets yet over the opening two, so Brighton don't look that defensively assured, but when he's playing practically as a winger, who kind of cares? And that's kind of a lovely factor because even when he does face tougher teams, that was kind of the big thing, was he actually going to get clean sheets in these harder fixtures, but now we don't really care about that because he's getting so forward. But yes, unfortunately, he does have some tough fixtures coming up, so I will offer some rotation pairs with my fourth defender. Now my third defender in the back three is going to be Ruben Diaz from Man City. I just believe Man City have great fixtures coming up. Yes, they've just signed Guardiola, but I do believe Ruben Diaz is nailed in that lineup. But obviously just heed some caution always with these Man City defenders. Now one strategy that you guys can also look at is going for Gusto at 4.0 and then going for Edison between the sticks and then save 0.5 million. But at the current moment, I just believe that Ruben Diaz is nailed for the opening couple games, even when the Champions League does start for Man City. If you guys want to know why I want to go for Man City defender, just look over the opening two game weeks. We expected the defense to be rock solid. It is yet again, and the fixtures only improve from game week 3 onwards. Now yes, you guys can go for a Guardiola if you want, it's slightly cheaper, but I just believe that Ruben Diaz is the leader in that back line, and that's how I'm going to go for him. Now I'm going to depart the defensive department for a moment. I'll get back to them when I talk about my bench options. Now let's go to the midfield department. Now, might be a little bit crazy here, but my number one midfielder to get at the current moment, almost essential, is going to be Mbeumo from Brentford. So who would have thought or predicted that a 6.5 midfielder would have been the most essential midfielder to get by game week 3? Well, that's definitely Mbeumo at his price point. Now, if you guys have watched Brentford, a great attacking side, Mbeumo has filled the shoes of talisman Ivan Toney with those 2 penalties over the opening 2 game weeks. So if you guys don't have him in your squad, my favorite 6.5 at the moment, yes, Matoma's there, Solly March's there, but their fixtures like his Stupinan get a lot tougher. So still some lovely fixtures to come up for Mbeumo, so the best is yet to come potentially, and that's super exciting. Now my next option kind of surprised us last night. It's Bukayo Saka at 8.5 million. He gave the penalty away to Odegaard, who obviously finished it in that win against Crystal Palace. So this Saka still on penalties. Who kind of knows at the current moment? Seems like he actually gave the penalty away, or Odegaard asked for it, instead of him being off penalties. So what did we say in preseason? If you guys watched all my kind of midfielder reviews, we said that Odegaard and Martinelli have better stats, but Saka has penalties. So Saka now has lost penalties. That's a little bit of a concern, but I'm going to still stick with him. Arsenal don't win the most penalties in the world, so I still believe he's a good asset. Now I've actually doubled up on that Arsenal midfield department. I've gone for Odegaard alongside Saka and upgrade on Martinelli in my opinion. So with that money in the bank, I just decided to go for the more assured option. If he is in fact on penalties at the moment, that increases his attacking threat, which just makes him better. Now the only slight concern here about that Arsenal midfield is there might be some rotation there. The fixtures also do get a lot tougher, but game week 3 against Fulham is definitely the fixtures to target. So comment down below, what do you guys think about this double up in the Arsenal department? I still believe it will get points even in those tougher games. Now my next midfielder is slightly controversial, but I've decided to actually keep one of my United attackers, and that's going to be Rashford. Now between Rashford and Bruno, it's a very kind of 50-50, you guys can go for whatever you want. Some people have been saying that Bruno is more kind of essential because he's on penalties, on set pieces, but Rashford does get more forward. Now I won't lie to you, when I saw that Rashford was going to be playing out of position, my eyes lit up. I thought this was a great opportunity to get an out of position midfielder, but at that centre forward slot, he's been simply terrible. So I'm almost hoping that he goes back to that left wing slot because he's been more effective there than at striker. So we'll see what happens over the next couple games, but at least he does at Nottingham Forest in game week 3. Now my final midfielder to go over is almost kind of essential on a wildcard. I would definitely go for a Man City triple up, and I've chosen Phil Foden at 7.5 million. Now there's a big debate between kind of Foden and Alvarez. I think that both of them are great selections to go for. I just believe with all that money in the bank, we can afford to go for Phil Foden, and he gets the extra point per goal and also the clean sheet point. So I believe that that's going to make him more essential than kind of an Alvarez, even if he doesn't play as many minutes. You guys know when Phil Foden plays football, he gets you FPL points. Now we have spoken about those Man City fixtures being so strong, lovely fixtures coming up. I expect Man City to score a few, and hopefully Phil Foden is involved. Now the big thing about why Phil Foden is an option nowadays is because Kevin De Bruyne unfortunately got injured. Seems like a long-term injury, and them selling Gundogan as well. Phil Foden might fit in that slot. Had a great game against Newcastle, was the real kind of playmaker, and therefore I do expect him to kind of fill the shoes of Kevin De Bruyne. Worth a punt on a wildcard, as I said, on this wildcard, because you're going so early, I would jump on these bandwagons before they happen, and that could be exactly what Phil Foden offers over the next few game weeks. So the midfield department looks simply outstanding. Now let's go over our forwards. I'm going to start off with completing the Man City triple up with Erling Haaland. So no debates about Erling Haaland. You guys know even in Game Week 2 they didn't have the best game against Newcastle. Still essential with these bloody fixtures coming up for Man City. So almost a perma captain for the upcoming game weeks wouldn't probably stray too far away from him, and that's why it's a no-brainer on a wildcard even. Now if you guys do want to go slightly differential, maybe got off to a bad start, I definitely wouldn't go without Erling Haaland. Please have him in your team as he's still a great asset. Now, nothing much has to be said about the Norwegian because everyone kind of has him in their team. 91% ownership I think when I last checked. So very kind of template. Now the final slot in our starting 11 is going to be for a striker. Big debate about what striker to go for. I personally have Ollie Watkins in my team. Is it worth transferring him out? And Alvarez is there. Visa is there even as a cheap alternative. But I've gone for Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea. The reason why I've gone for Nicholas Jackson over someone like an Alvarez, not only do I still have my kind of Man City triple up, but I just believe that Jackson has better expected minutes. There's a debate to go for Visa if you guys want to go there. Maybe if you want to upgrade one of your midfielders to a Heung-min Son, that sort of thing, then you guys can save that value up front. But I do really like the look of these Chelsea fixtures. As I've mentioned, they have great fixtures coming up. I've completed my Chelsea triple up as well. But this is very kind of situational. If you guys do prefer Alvarez, you can downgrade for Foden, but I personally like having Foden and Jackson up front. So comment down below, if you guys were to choose a second striker at the moment, would you go for 3 strikers or would you keep it with 2? And who would your second striker be? So obviously with every starting 11, we're going to have a bench, and the bench is actually pretty respectable. We're going to start off with Udogie at 4.5. So Udogie or Udogie, I don't really know how to pronounce that, so I do apologize. But all you have to know is that he's a super attacking fullback. Now the best thing about those Spurs fixtures is they're really strong from Game Week 3 onwards, and then you can rotate him with a Stupinan when a Stupinan has a bad game. So almost a perfect rotation in this back 3, and even though Spurs concede a few, at least he offers that attacking threat. So my personal favorite 4.5, but I guess you can go for some other variations. Rico Henry is also a personal favorite, even from preseason. Then our 4.0 defender is going to be Bayer. You guys can upgrade him if you want to, but I don't want too much value on my bench in case our premium ends up doing well. So between Bayer, Baldock, Kabore, they're all great assets. I've simply chosen Bayer here because Baldock has a knock, so I'm going to go for security of starts. Then in terms of our 4.5 forward, the last position in our wildcard draft is actually going to be Usula from Sheffield United. Now the 4.5 bracket isn't too popular. I know I picked Archer because I believed that he would leave Aston Villa, but that transfer might be delayed. So at the current moment, Usula started both games. I think he has 165 minutes over the last 2 fixtures, which is pretty decent, and he seems quite nailed. So at 4.5, what more can you kind of ask for? Low ownership, plays games, but probably going to be on your bench most game weeks. So the conclusion of our bench, therefore the conclusion of our wildcard draft, 1.5 million left in the bank. You guys can make your changes. Comment down below what you would change in this team. As mentioned early on, if you guys are kind of pondering using the wildcard, comment your current team as well as your wildcard team, and I'll say if you guys should activate the chip. Otherwise, any other concerns, any other transfers you guys want to make, I reply to every single comment, and I'm here to help. Otherwise, you guys can always join my Discord server where I do answer all questions. That's going to be the second link in the description. But this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Ultimate guide coming up tomorrow in the team selection as well. So make sure those notifications are turned on. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.